Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny. Now remember, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell when you click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video, and also make sure you click all, so all notifications you will receive. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video, and check out my YouTube partner BK WorldTube, where you get everything as far as black entertainment, from Love and Hip Hop to RuPaul's Drag Race to the Haves and the Have-Nots and many other shows. So, and also probably P-Valley is probably up there as well. So go and check out BK WorldTube today. Now this is a mukbang that I'm doing for you today, another mukbang, and this time I am serving up nachos, baby. I got jalapenos, peppers and onions, rice and black beans, the works. And I'm a big nacho fan, so trust and believe I am going to enjoy this mukbang, and definitely going to enjoy the topics that I'm going to talk about today. So I hope all of you had a great week. I hope all of you are doing well, amidst the crazy times that we're living in. But yes, definitely happy to be doing this mukbang with you today. Now the first thing I want to talk about is this whole exchange between Candace Owens and Cardi B. Now recently Cardi B had did an interview with Joe Biden, and Candace Owens completely aired it out and saying that Joe Biden is pandering Cardi B around, trying to get the vote for the Democratic Party, because this is election year, and election time is always crazy. And Candace Owens just pretty much said that you're being made a fool out of. Yeah, you may be intelligent, but you're politically ignorant. And why is it that he would rather do an interview with Cardi B versus someone who is intelligent in the political arena? And Candace definitely did have some points with that, but then Cardi has some points too, saying that, look, I'm an American, and I want the best for my country, and why wouldn't Joe Biden want to speak to me? I have a very big fan base, I'm a public figure. Why wouldn't he want to interview me? So for me, due to the fact that I'm an independent, I'm neither Republican nor Democrat, I definitely see things on both sides. And definitely Candace definitely aired Cardi B out in regards to the fact that she's not a political strategist, and why is it that Biden will come from under the basement to interview Cardi B of all people, when there's other prominent black figures that he could have did an interview with. But it's all strategy. He's definitely trying to get the young people vote, and Cardi B has a big fan base of young people. She's a prominent figure. A very talented artist. Love me some Cardi B. Bodak Yellow was my shit. And I also love all the other things that she's done. Cardi B's awesome. So there's no hate here. But then again, I definitely see where Candace was coming from, that yeah, you're being used to just get them votes and to just appeal to the young people. It's no different when Bill Clinton played the saxophone on our Arsenio Hall show during his election campaign. It's all strategy to appeal to the young. And it's a very, very tricky situation here, but definitely I definitely side with what Candace Owens was saying, that we need actual intelligent individuals to really be at the front of this political fight. And for me, I definitely side with Ice Cube, as far as the Democratic Party is like, y'all want us to go out and vote, but what are you going to be doing economically for the black community? What are you going to be doing, as far as education of, the black community and all of those things? There needs to be an economic discussion around what the black community is going to inherit by us voting for you. So, due to the fact that we're voting, we do have a right to say what we want and what we expect, from our political leaders that we're putting in position. So I'm definitely with this, which is probably why I'm independent, because I'm not just gonna ride with the Democrats because I'm black, and I'm not just gonna ride with the Republicans, But I'll just end it like this: it was the Democrats who enslaved us, but it was the Republicans that freed us. That's fact, and I'm gonna leave it there. But I definitely agree with what some of the things Candace said, but I also agree with what Cardi B has said, that she is a prominent figure, and why wouldn't he want to vote for her? Why wouldn't he want to have an interview with her? Makes sense. But then again, you also have to look at the game. This is all strategy. I mean, it is not a surprise that Kamala Harris made an appearance during the verses between Brandy and Monica. It's all about getting those young people. So they're pulling rank, and they want to win. But the thing is, what will the black community win? I'll let y'all marinate on that. Next, I'm going to talk about my boy Joe Budden. Joe Budden is really getting the blues right now, and it's really crazy because I did say in my last video that the whole situation between Joe Budden and Tahiri was domestic violence on both ends. They were abusing each other. But then also, to add to what I said about Tahiri, that Tahiri is very aggressive, Jonathan, who y'all know from Love and Hip Hop, had came out and said that he had a situation with Tahiri where Tahiri, really was up in his face, and he pretty much told her, like, look, get the hell out of my face, because if I were to hit you back, I'm in a loser situation whether I attack you or not. So you just need to back up off me, because when it comes down to domestic violence, they always go after the guy, especially when it comes down to women. But then again, women abuse men too. And then he even goes to add that after that situation with him, she physically assaulted 3 other men behind the scenes. So we definitely know that Tahiri definitely is just as aggressive as Joe is. Now, this week, more has been revealed about Joe Budden and his relationship with his baby mama, Sin Santana, and also his ex-girlfriend, I think her name is Leslie, where Leslie says that, he had pinned her down and sat on her stomach while she was pregnant with their daughter, and due to that, she had a miscarriage. And I was just like, man, that is fucked up. Like, completely fucked up. And then Sin Santana, when she was she was pretty much gonna take him to court, and she produced a legal document with her attorney where she alleges that Joe was physically aggressive with her, and times where he dragged her by her hair, and wouldn't let her out the house and all of that. And she also talks about how he likes to masturbate his dog, which I thought, well, okay, that's some weird shit right there. Have no dog in that race. But I mean, I love dogs, but I don't love dogs that much. But then she also shares that that Joe at times would physically assault her. So right now, it ain't looking good for Joe Budden. I mean, and it's kind of funny that this is happening after he turned down the deal with Spotify, that now all of his chickens are coming home to roost. So I'm going to still keep my eyes and ears on this whole Joe Budden situation, because as I said before, I like Joe Budden, but there is a lot of misogyny when it comes to him, and this is proof that it's coming out. And it's funny that I say this because it just proves that Jaguar Wright was correct in what she said, that there's a lot of misogyny in the industry. And she said that women in the industry, like, there's 3 women who are treated the same way: a prostitute, a stripper, and a woman in the entertainment industry. They're all treated the same way. They're treated like whores, they're treated like sluts, and the men have their way with them. I mean, and we've seen this come out with the whole Me Too movement. And, you know, we've even seen it just this week with more of these stories coming out. Because as I said before, 2020 is the year of the light, the year of vision. So therefore, what you do in the dark is now being seen by everybody. And some people are shocked, and then some people who know or have people on the inside are not surprised. But this is a year where a lot of people are being aired out, and a lot of stuff is being shared. Like Bow Wow. Like Bow Wow, you know, you remember when Bow Wow got into it with his ex and he had all them scratches on his face? Well, there's been an audio leaked with him and this girl. I forgot her name. If y'all know her name, put it down in the comments. Where he literally is not letting her out of the room, and he is talking to her like she's a dude, saying that, you know what, bruh, you know, I can ruin you, I can ruin you, I can ruin your family, won't none of y'all motherfuckers eat, you hear me, you know who the fuck I am. And I'm like listening to this shit, and I'm like, oh my god, like, damn. Like, he was literally bullying this girl. So pretty much them scratches on his face, she was literally fighting for her life, because, you know, she even admit that he has physically assaulted her times, you know, many times beforehand. And this wasn't the first time, but this shit was like this shit was an audio that has now gone viral, and people now see this other side of Bow Wow that we didn't know. You know, because, you know, when we first saw the mugshot, we was like, damn, she really fucked him up. But now we realize that he been fucking her up for a minute, but she fought back. And there was also another audio leak between a phone call between Sin Santana and Joe Budden, where she pretty much drops the bomb that you know how he dragged her and that he physically assaulted her. He pretty much kind of dodges it. He doesn't actually admit to it, because I think he kind of got the inclination that the audio was being recorded. And supposedly Sin gave this to a friend of hers, and the friend leaked it, and supposedly that friend is Rocky. Y'all remember her from Love and Hip Hop. Allegedly, she was the one that leaked the audio between Sin and Joe. But yeah, it's been a crazy week. And then now I'm gonna talk about Dr. Dre. Now, you know, Dr. Dre is currently right now going through a divorce with his wife, Nicole Young. I think they've been married for about 20 years, and let's just say what she's asking for in this divorce is insane. You know, she's asking for $2 million a month. She's asking for all this money to do laundry, and I'm like, boo boo. What kind of laundry are you washing? Because last time I checked, it don't take a lot to do laundry. But then she's asking for like about $900,000 in entertainment. I'm like, what kind of entertainment, honey? I mean, are you getting like the three tenors or like the Philharmonic orchestra to do a private, you know, show for you and your family? Like, what kind of shit is this? You know, are you getting like Beyonce and Jay-Z? They're gonna be doing a personal concert. Like, that's crazy. But she's asking for this in the divorce settlement, and she's also asking for money for clothes and all that, because she's been a kept woman all this time. And she's literally taking Dr. Dre to court. Now, will she get all this? Who's to say? Because they're still in mediations. So who's to say she will get all that? But then again, she may get close to it, and depending on what the judge feels in regards to their marriage, you know, because at first I think they did have a prenup, but then the prenup actually has outdated, so now, you know, she's pretty much almost entitled to half. But it's according to the judge as to what she would actually get. But then when I looked at all of these requirements that she wanted, I'm like, wow, she's really sticking it to Dre. But I also have to say this too, that, you know, in the name of in the name of misogyny, this is Dre's wake up call. You know, because we know about his alleged abuse of Michelet, you know, what he did with Dee Barnes, and also another artist that he had on that was on Ruthless Records. She was a rapper. I think her name was Taylor something. If I could be wrong, but get down those comments and you know, if y'all know who she is. But I definitely remember he actually, you know, physically assaulted her at the American Music Awards. So Dre has had a history of being volatile to women, and now she's pretty much taking him for everything he's got. And Dre, I think, is worth like over $800 million. So this is really going to be this is going to be some fireworks, and it's only time will tell how this whole divorce is going to unfold. But from those lists of demands, yeah, she's really trying to stick it to him, because he got that one female who's now fighting back, and she gonna fight you back in the worst way. She gonna fight you in your pockets. And then another leak happened this week. Y'all heard about what happened with Megan Thee Stallion and Tony Lanez and Tory, where you know, he was the one who actually shot her in the foot, and actually he sent her a text where he said that, you know, I was too drunk, I didn't mean for this to happen. So there was definitely guilt that was being shared, where he, in other words, admit to shooting her, but then feeling guilty that he was so drunk that he lost control. But from the looks of this, from my perspective, I'm thinking, bruh, this ain't the first time you lost control, but you lost it in the worst way, because now your reputation and everything is on the line, and that you really did shoot this woman, and you shot her, and then you pretty much shot her, and she's the one who chose to keep it quiet because she didn't want to take down another black man. And it's kind of funny that, you know, that the women protect us, but then the men are quick to drag the black female. I mean, it definitely takes me back to who was I about to say? Well, what happened with Terry Crews and Gabrielle Union? You know, and I think this is like a real call for us black men, that we need to stop the bullshit, and we need to start defending our women, and we need to stop acting like bullies in a damn gym locker room, you know, being about the bullshit. So there's that whole leak has definitely changed everything. So now we're all seeing that, yeah, he did shoot her, and she was innocent. Like, there was no reason for him to shoot her at all. So Megan is pretty much winning. I mean, she's on a #1 song with Cardi B, so they got the #1 song in the country. And, you know, shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. You know, keep doing your thing. But then again, this whole situation with Tory is that, you know, we as black men need to do better, and we need to represent ourselves better, because this shit ain't right. It ain't right at all. Now I'm about to get into this whole situation with Tamar Braxton. Now, I love me some Tamar, you know, but I've always saw with Tamar that Tamar had a lot of there's a lot of, issues with Tamar. Tamar is super talented. Has a beautiful voice, is a great musician, but she sucks in the love department. She's had one bad man after another. I mean, we definitely saw that her marriage with Vince Herbert became turbulent, which ended up them getting divorced, and she immediately starts up this relationship with this guy named David Adefisio, and she was like, oh yeah, my new man is so fine. I'm like, he alright looking, he ain't fine, girl, just saying. But let's just say things are airing out about their situation, another situation of misogyny and domestic violence, because recently he put out a restraining order against Tamar, saying that while they were in the car and he was driving his Rolls Royce, she attacked him, almost causing him to have a very fatal accident, which he said there was over $30,000 in damage to his vehicle. But according to Tamar pretty much said that he was the one that was aggressive, and what she did was defend herself, and she even showed a picture of her arm where supposedly he grabbed her so hard that her arm bruised, and she showed proof of that, and that he got very cold and demeaning in the car, and what she did was fight for her life, because we know that Tamar recently had survived a suicide attempt, and thank God that she did. And this just goes to show that Tamar has a lot of mental issues that she needs to work through, and the last thing she needs is a toxic man in her life. Because I'm looking at David with side eyes, because David's moves and how the way he's doing things is kind of revealing that he just got with Tamar for clout. Tamar is a well-renowned public figure, Grammy nominated artist, a reality star. I actually checked out the first episode of on Get Your Life, and just his whole aura just really put it out there that he is very controlling, and also is probably very aggressive, when those cameras aren't on. I mean, because he made a saying that he doesn't want Vince showing up at his house and all of that. But I'm like, at the end of the day, bro, whether you like it or not, Vince is the father of her child. So Vince is always going to be a part of the picture. But in the first episode, you really kind of see that he has a very controlling nature, where he's saying that, well, I have my own house and Tamar has her house, but it's my house too. Like, really, bruh? Seriously? Hers is yours, but what's yours is yours. Like, how does that work? So we're really seeing that there's this controlling nature around David. And there were also some leaked texts that came about between David and Vince. And Vince, which I completely applaud him on, took the side of Tamar and his son. Because what really started the fight was the fact that David was posting stuff on Instagram with her son. And she's not okay with that. I mean, she has a good relationship. She has pretty much a very good co-parent relationship right now with Vince, and here it is, David is just doing the most. He's trying to create an image of his own, because I think what David really wants, David wants fame. David don't need fortune, because David is rich. David works in the tech field. He's very well off. So he ain't looking for money, but he wants fame, and he's trying to get fame off of Tamar's. And I can definitely see that to the fact that you have a man that wants fame more than he wants you, doesn't that sound like enough that would make you feel insecure to the point that you may want to end your life because you want love, but you clearly realize that the person you're laying next to is only with you for what you have and not for who you are? Just saying. But in this leaked text between David and Vince goes in and pretty much tells David, we are not friends, bruh. And he said that the last time you packed up her shit, you did it in a very trashy way. You literally just put all her stuff in trash bags. And he was saying that you need to pack up their stuff. And he was saying that, like David said, that he was going to mail it to him. He's like, why the hell would you do that? We live in the same town. I can just come over and I can pick up their things. Because, yeah, Tamar and David are over, but I think Tamar needs to focus on her healing, focus on, reconnecting with herself, and not having another toxic man in her life, because it's just tragic that we almost lost her, and I'm so glad that Tamar isn't dead. I mean, a lot of people turn to suicide as the answer. I mean, I, for one, who survived a suicide attempt, know that to be true. That it's not a place you want to be in, and I vowed myself after I survived that I would never do that to myself again. That there are times where things get rough. You don't see how you don't see the end of the tunnel. You really don't have a clear vision as to where your life is headed, and yet you got all of this drama and negative energy around you, and it's enough to drive you mad that you don't want to live. But you have to find that strength with yourself to keep going, and I encourage Tamar to do the same. So definitely get your therapy, listen to your doctors, and definitely take your life seriously, because you have a lot to live for. Not just for your son, but mainly also for yourself and for your fam. I mean, even though right now her family's estranged, I do hope that they work that out. But yeah, so definitely this is just my message to people. If you having suicidal thoughts, definitely reach out to someone, and definitely there's a suicide hotline that you can call. Get help. Because you should not be facing this alone, because we've lost some very prominent people to suicide, and it's just it's just like, an unfortunate thing that some people can get so low, and their energy can get so low that they don't want to live. And it's nothing to make fun of, it's nothing to shy away from, and it's definitely not something to take lightly. So next, I want to talk about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air 30th anniversary. Yeah, these nachos is hitting. So, most of you all know that this weekend they celebrated the 30th anniversary of the hit sitcom The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I, for one, am a huge fan of this show. Even as a child, I looked forward to watching it, every Monday. At one point it was on Thursdays, but then it went to Mondays. And I was a huge fan of the show. As a matter of fact, last year, I did this event with Project Briggs. Shout out to them. I did this. I have a social group called the T Zone that I've created, and we did a session around black on black resentment. And the very first video I played in that social group was a video from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It was the episode where Carlton and Will try to join this black fraternity, but they marginalized Carlton because Carlton came from a privileged background, whereas Will and the headmaster, they grew up in the hood. They knew what it's like to live off of food stamps and public assistance, whereas Carlton grew up in Bel-Air. So pretty much he was trying to say that Carlton was a sellout, when yet Carlton wasn't a sellout. Carlton was just a different representation of being black. because they're different variations of black people. And my whole mission was why I played the video, was saying that we need to come together instead of tearing each other down because one grew up privileged and the other one didn't. But the way that Carlton stood up to this guy was just powerful, because he said that we're supposed to be black and stand together, but you don't know what that means. And clearly the guy didn't, because he wasn't hood and didn't have a certain flair. And because he was proper and, he liked Barry Manilow, he wasn't considered black. So I bring that up to show that how much of a big fan of the show I was, but then showing that how Fresh Prince of Bel-Air tackled a lot of deep issues within the black community. Absentee fathers, gun violence, many others. So it was great that they're celebrating this show that was monumental, and had really made a major influence, in entertainment all across the board. I mean, you can still see reruns of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to this day. I mean, this show is iconic. I remember the show growing up, and even as a grown man, I'm still a huge fan of this show. And excuse me, shout out to the whole cast and crew of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You guys definitely deserve this moment, because the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air definitely made just as much of an impact, as the Cosby Show had did in the 80s. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air did that for the 90s. But one of the major moments that happened with this 30th anniversary special was that we finally got the sit down between Will Smith and Janet Hubert. Now, for those of you who know, Janet Hubert was the original Aunt Viv. And I will say, I'm team Black Viv. Love Daphne Maxwell Reid. She's a great actress. But the one who really played that role, who made Aunt Viv iconic, was Janet Hubert. I mean, Janet Hubert was a triple threat. And she really brought a lot to the character of Vivian. Because Vivian was no nonsense, was, a strong, dark-skinned woman who was pretty much the matriarch of a rich family. And she definitely was the perfect, partner with Uncle Phil, who was played by James Avery. Rest in peace to the great actor James Avery. But there were a lot of issues that happened behind the scenes between Will Smith and Janet Hubert, which eventually, I think in 93, she was fired from the show, and she was replaced by Daphne Maxwell Reid. And, for years, she has attacked Will every chance she got, because she was literally blackballed after being fired from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and she went from making $250,000 a year to making absolutely nothing. And even though she still got work as an actress, she never got any prominent roles that she had with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And a lot of their beef was due to the fact that Will was young, impressionable, but yet he had his own TV show and yet was an executive producer of it. And, Janet, who was a veteran actress who'd been in the industry for 10 years, now this young kid was her boss. I'm pretty sure there was this constant, motion where they were butting heads with each other, which eventually led to her getting fired. And she also had issues with the amount of pay she was receiving, because she was feeling that the show's becoming more successful, we all should be getting paid more money. But Will was more like, my deal is your deal is your deal. And, there was just this constant friction between the two of them, to the point that for 30 years they had been beefing. Y'all remember after Jada Pinkett Smith had pretty much said that she wasn't going to the Oscars and was rejecting the Oscars because Will wasn't nominated, Janet went on her platform and roasted the hell out of both of them. And I was like, Janet didn't hold back, and she just wasn't for it. But it was great to see that her and Will actually sat down and had a conversation, and they chose to end their 30-year beef, and I'm so here for that, you know. And but she didn't appear with the other cast because, you know, she don't fuck with the rest of them. And I have my hunch as to why. I mean, one, you know, Alfonso Ribeiro has always spoken bad about Janet to the press, and she pretty much calls him a media hoe. That he's gonna say whatever, you know, he's gonna say whatever just to get attention because he's constantly clout chasing, according to her. But I think the real reason why she don't fuck with the rest of the cast was because allegedly she was the one who was like saying that all of them should get a raise and that they all, you know, should be getting paid more money because the show is becoming a major success. Now, she decided to probably be the spokesperson when it came to addressing Will about this, but when it really came down for them supporting her, they chose to stick to the script and they weren't going against the machine. So it was literally her by herself going against Will and the machine being Quincy Jones and Benny Medina. So she was at a loss right then and there, and she felt that the rest of the cast did not support her. So I think that's why she just chose to meet with Will and didn't care about meeting with the rest of the cast. And she definitely got a bone to pick with Alfonso because Alfonso was always talking shit about her. So she wasn't having that. But it was great that, you know, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is celebrating their 30th anniversary, and in this moment they decided after 30 years of beefing to finally end their beef and, you know, actually sit down and talk with each other, and it was a great moment. So I definitely wanted to share that. So that's what I have, y'all. Get down in those comments and let me know your thoughts about some of these topics, and, you know, what are your thoughts on it. Love to hear from you. So until next time, everybody, take care.